Yesterday I was working on Benfield Hill Wildlife Group, brush cutting for the flock of sheep that have just arrived from Brighton and Hove City Council. I'm a sheep looker, so I also do my fair share of looking at the sheep. Benfield Hill is unique, it's grass, it's not been ploughed for over 120 years, and therefore we get a good selection of orchids. You name it, we've probably got it or had it. We are aware that the sheep do nibble everything, and therefore we try and get rid of the sheep by the end of March. Now I'll go back a bit in time. I lived in Pasham from 1944 to 1968 in Brayside Avenue. During that time I spent a lot of time out back, in other words the back of my house backed straight onto Pasham Court Farms land. During that time I learnt a lot of things about farming, the rota of everything. Even back then in the late 40s, the shepherd and his flock of sheep went onto the downs during the day, and the sheep came back into the fold that he built each day, moving it across the field so that they dunged at night. Sheep always dung at night if they've been out. They don't dung on the pasture in the normal way. The field therefore got cleaned and fertilised before it was ploughed by a team of tractors, mostly old Fordsons, to do the ploughing. And there were a few farmers that worked on the farm in those days. Now, in the last few years, the farm was run by two men. Back in the 1940s and early 50s, the farm had about 10 men. At the same time, and while we were on the downs, we found various things. I remember us finding hedgehogs, a tortoise. We found the odd toad, but more in the backs of the gardens that were along Brayside Avenue than ever there were in the open downland. On walks over the downs, we got as far as we'd often go up to the abandoned small holding off the Ditchling Road. That is now part of Standine Farm. We also used to go over to what was called High Barn, I think, at Standine Farm, and you could look down at all the lambs in Easter time. The farm still used reaper binders in the early 50s, with us kids quite happy to pick up the sheaves and put them into stooks of about 6 sheaves in an A-frame shape. Again, we walked over the downs a lot. It was our playground. We had dens. Again, very little wildlife. A few rabbits, a few hares, a fox occasionally, not wanted, bearing in mind the hunt used to come through full of red huntsmen and horns and everything in those days. We would walk up to the ponds on the Ditchling Road, but the pond at Piddingworth, and on the opposites, on the west side of the Ditchling Road, a dew pond at the top of the sheep field there. If we found a few tadpoles or a bit of frog spawn, there wasn't much. It was very much downland and very, very little of anything like that. I bought myself some land at Ditchling, 9 acres of a plantation wood, planted with grant funding after the Great Storm of 87. We didn't buy it till 2000. We've still got it. The trees are now 60, 80 feet tall, and some of them are falling down now because some trees only grow that old. On the land we have a group of deer. There's 3 or 4. We always see them. I always say see them because if you go onto the field from one end, the deer will run up the other end, and as you walk round, they'll run back down at the first end. We've seen foxes, ducks, ducklings, badgers we know we've got. Like I said, large quantities of frogs, toads, not many adders, no adders. I think we've got a fair group of rooks. There's a buzzard nesting. I've seen stoats up there. all sorts of things. There is a lot. I could probably go up and see something new every day. I've had people come up who are good birders, and they have identified at least 24 species. The field is like, it's the only one around. All the rest is farmland. Yeah. So you've got this block of woodland, this 9-acre block of woodland in amongst all the farmland. Yeah. There's other hedges running off, so there's good corridors. Yeah. What's good wildlife corridors.